Just months before GTA 6's release, Rockstar Games is facing its darkest scandal yet. Over 30 developers were suddenly fired, many accused of organizing a union. The company calls it gross misconduct. The union calls it retaliation. Behind the world's biggest crime franchise, a new kind of war has begun, one over power, loyalty, and silence. For years, Rockstar Games has built its empire on perfectionism, pressure, and control. From Grand Theft Auto to Red Dead Redemption, its world set new standards for realism, while developers quietly spoke of crunch.
I've been through a couple of projects, both of which had crunch. The first one was extremely difficult. I had way less gray hair back then.
Burnout and 12-hour workdays. Now those old concerns have resurfaced in a new form. The people who helped craft GTA 6 say they were punished for demanding a voice. Before this scandal, Rockstar Games had already built a reputation for pushing its teams to the limit. In 2018, co-founder Dan Houser proudly mentioned that some staff were working 100-hour weeks on Red Dead Redemption 2. What he meant as dedication quickly spiraled into controversy. Employees described months of exhaustion, skipped holidays, and endless overnight sessions to meet deadlines. The press called it crunch culture, and it became a stain that Rockstar spent years trying to clean off. In response, the studio promised change. Managers spoke of a new era of empathy, saying developers would have more time, flexibility, and freedom. For a while, that message worked, until return-to-office mandates arrived in 2024, and discontent began to rise again. Anonymous developers told journalists that morale had slipped back to pre-Red Dead levels, and that nothing really changed, only the words did. By the time GTA 6 entered its final production phase, whispers of burnout and internal friction were already resurfacing. So when news broke that 30 employees were suddenly fired, many in the industry saw it not as an isolated act, but as the latest chapter in Rockstar's long struggle between control and creativity. In late October 2025, reports surfaced that Rockstar Games abruptly fired 30 to 40 employees across its UK and Canadian offices. The Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain, or IWGB, claims those fired were involved in early union organizing, including a private Discord group. The union called it the most ruthless act of union busting in UK games industry history. Take-Two Interactive responded that the dismissals were for gross misconduct, not retaliation. No public evidence for the misconduct has been released. The timing, so close to GTA 6, has amplified backlash and scrutiny. The union's version is clear. These firings were an attempt to silence organizing developers before their movement gained traction. According to IWGB, staff had privately discussed forming a union to negotiate fairer conditions. Issues like return-to-office mandates, unpaid overtime, and uneven pay scales between contractors and full-timers. After the Discord group was discovered, they claim Rockstar began identifying members, and weeks later, the terminations followed. In contrast, Take-Two Interactive insists there's no connection between the firings and union activity. Its official statement says employees were dismissed for gross misconduct and for no other reason, emphasizing that Rockstar respects all employees' rights to unionize. But because no specific misconduct has been disclosed, the debate remains one-sided, and the studio's silence is fueling the story more than any rumor ever could. Rockstar's controversy didn't happen in a vacuum. It's part of a much larger battle that's reshaping the gaming industry itself. In 2022, QA testers at Raven Software, a division of Activision Blizzard, became the first union recognized inside a major US publisher. That win triggered a wave. Saga of America staff unionized in 2023, followed by ZeniMax QA teams under Microsoft in 2024. Each case shared the same story: long hours, unstable pay, and burnout, met by workers deciding to fight back collectively. For decades, game studios operated on what insiders called passion pay, the idea that loving games was its own reward. But as billion-dollar titles like Call of Duty, Fortnite, and GTA dominated the market, the imbalance became harder to ignore. Union efforts, once unthinkable, are now spreading across North America and Europe. Even smaller indie teams have started forming worker co-ops, challenging the idea that creativity has to come at a personal cost. That's what makes Rockstar's alleged union busting so explosive. It's not just about one company. It's about whether the industry's most powerful studios will allow the same worker rights that have already taken root elsewhere. For many developers watching from the outside, this case could decide if unionization in AAA gaming becomes the new normal or remains the exception. In the United Kingdom, firing workers for union activity isn't just unethical, it's illegal under the Trade Union and Labor Relations Act of 1992. That's why the IWGB has filed a formal legal complaint, calling Rockstar's move a blatant attack on workers' rights. If proven true, it could mark the first major union-busting case in Britain's gaming industry. Meanwhile, in Canada, labor lawyers warn the situation could trigger similar scrutiny under federal and provincial employment law. Across social media, the backlash is fierce. Players are accusing Rockstar of hypocrisy, comparing the studio's in-game freedom to its alleged real-world control. And with GTA 6 on the horizon, the question isn't just legal, it's moral. How much is too much power for a company built on rebellion? Inside Rockstar, morale reportedly hit its lowest point since the Red Dead Redemption 2 crunch backlash. Sources describe a climate of fear, where remaining developers are afraid to speak publicly or even like union-related posts online. Critics say this moment exposes a deep contradiction. The company that built the world's most rebellious game is being accused of crushing rebellion in real life. For fans, the timing couldn't be worse. GTA 6, the most anticipated release in gaming history, now carries the weight of a labor scandal before it even reaches store shelves. And while the game's world celebrates outlaws fighting corruption, the studio behind it faces accusations of becoming exactly that. Inside Rockstar Studios, every delay, leak, and controversy carries weight, and this one hits harder than most. Developers close to the project describe an atmosphere of intense caution, with leadership now determined to keep GTA 6's production on schedule at any cost. Some insiders worry that the firings, combined with low morale, could push the studio back toward the same crunch conditions that haunted Red Dead Redemption 2. So far, Rockstar hasn't announced any changes to the game's timeline, but analysts note that internal instability can ripple outward, from QA testing bottlenecks to marketing hesitations. Even a small disruption in a project of this scale can mean millions lost and months of readjustment. Fans, meanwhile, are torn between excitement and unease, wondering whether the next Grand Theft Auto will launch as the culmination of creative freedom or the symbol of a broken studio trying to save face. Either way, the spotlight is now locked on Rockstar. When GTA 6 finally drops, it won't just be judged for its graphics, map size, or realism. It'll be judged for what it represents: the cost of creation inside one of gaming's most secretive empires. The IWGB has vowed to fight the dismissals through every legal channel available. Their goal isn't reinstatement, it's recognition. A chance to prove that even in the biggest studios, developers have a right to stand together. Take-Two and Rockstar have remained silent since their initial statement, offering no further comment on the allegations. If courts side with the union, it could force Rockstar Games to confront the one kind of rebellion it's never been able to control: its own workforce. But if the company's defense holds, the message to the rest of the industry is clear. The bigger the game, the harder it is to challenge the system that builds it. Either way, this isn't just a story about GTA 6 anymore. It's about who gets to own the meaning of freedom in gaming's most powerful empire.